Welcome to my talk about adequate risk indication in mountain biking. My name is Stefan from the LMU Munich. In the first screen here, you can see a mountain bike rider, and she is getting a notification on her smartwatch that tells her that she's riding in a scenario that is of untypically high risk for her skill set. In the middle, there is a overall risk indication metric that tells her how risky the application considers this scenario. On the top, you can see internal risk, and on the bottom, you can see an external risk. And from this point on, she can decide on her own whether she wants to keep going or maybe walk her bike, go slower, or take a reroute. Why would you need such an application? As you all know, outdoor sports are currently thriving, and not only caused by the pandemic, people have been trying to get away from their desks towards the outdoors for many years now. And while some of them start sports like running or hiking, which I would consider not being of much risk, some of them try sports like mountain biking, and those often result in injuries and crashes. And for example, I myself had a big mountain bike crash 4 years ago, and it was mostly caused by inattention. I was riding from one side of the mountain to the other side on a very flat and very easy path, and I was just cruising along, not paying attention, and suddenly crashed, which resulted in 3 years of surgeries and struggle. And what we want to do with this work is create a concept for an application that can tell you your current risk and warn you of potentially risky scenarios. Those are the bits and pieces that go into such a risk indication application. On the top, we have 3 types of risk factors. The internal risk factors, which are stress, fatigue, or fitness. For example, if you're facing a lot of chronic stress, you might be distracted from the task at hand, which could be mountain biking. You have your external risk factors like difficulty and surface type. For example, if you're riding a bike on a flat and paved road, you're not very likely to crash. But if you're riding your bike down a very steep and technical and loose trail, you're more likely to crash, obviously. And then you have your mixed risk factors. So you have, for example, a difficulty to skill ratio. In my example, I was riding on a path that was too easy, I would say, and not paying attention. So what if the trail would have been harder, would have paid more attention and not crashed? I don't know. And then to bring all those parts together, we need a risk indication application that accumulates all those factors and communicates that risk to the rider. So how could such an application look like? The first 2 screens are pretty straightforward. You start your activity like you would usually start your activity tracking on your smartwatch. Then you have the screen that we saw in the start frame, and then as soon as you start the application, you can consider your current risk and tell the system whether it was of potentially high risk, moderate risk, or low risk. And from this point on, the application can decide whether it wants to adjust the algorithm and maybe detect factors that make risk more intense for you. And how could we solve this in the future? For internal risk factors, we have a lot of data in those smartwatches already. We have external risk factors where we detected difficulty and surface type with machine learning algorithms. And then we have mixed risk factors like difficulty to skill ratio. For that purpose, we are recording a data set from which we hopefully can detect mismatches in difficulty to skill, or maybe detect fear or other indicators. And then we need a risk indication application that could, for example, in the first step, be a Wizard of Oz style application. Thank you for your attention.